we do a segment once in a while, ask a lawyer, because we get a lot of these legal stories, and so we'll opine about it often, but we thought it'd be better if we actually had somebody with some type of legal expertise to come on the show. We had John Mai, friend of the show. He would come in studio and kind of go over those stories with us. But Zach also is a lawyer. He tunes into our show, and he actually called me, or it was a text, to kind of let me know that we got some things right and wrong as far as the dialogue that we had. Was it last week's show or the week before? Was it last week's?
Yeah,
Which one
it
was
might
that?
have been. Yeah, I'm surprised. That's one surprise you guys had a lawyer on 2 weeks in a row. That's daring. I think it was last week.
No, I mean, because real quick, because we tried to do something different, like with our show. Like I said, we have, one, I feel like we cover a lot of stories that nobody else covered. Two, we wanted to, it's one thing to give our opinion, but if our opinions are wrong or not based on any type of reality, then those opinions mean absolutely nothing. And so wanted to support those opinions by having some type of legal expertise on the show. And it's surprising to me that nobody did it. Of course, when we did it, then everybody got the bright idea to do it too. But you know what I'm saying? But
typical C's punchline.
I'm just saying, like, it doesn't go unnoticed. But anyway, I think one of the first things, because there was another things you told me. One was the Bape situation with Nike.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on
First
that?
off, I'll talk. Yeah, first off, John sounded great. Everything he said was, literally on point, and I think you hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of law that comes with sneakers nowadays, and everyone says stuff and thinks they're lawyer, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. And again, I'm not saying I'm right all the time. I'm certainly not. But yeah, I think, like you said, there's a lot of misinformation. So it's a good thing that what you guys are doing, bringing John on and bringing me on and bringing a bunch of other, great lawyers that do this kind of stuff, just to help interject here and there. So I appreciate you guys having me.
No, most definitely. I mean, me and you already talked. We already, have a relationship of sorts. It was funny because I remember when you jumped on Instagram, I was kind of like, oh, it's about time, like, to actually see somebody. I'm always surprised when I see the different angles people take within sneakers. And so when you finally did it, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, like that definitely makes sense, because people are starting businesses. They might have other questions and concerns, and so having a lawyer within that space who was knowledgeable, to the laws and rules specific to sneakers, helps us out as a community in the long run. But can you speak on the Bape situation? Is there something we missing in that?
So I think you guys hit the nail on the head last time. It's really just a decision that that Nike's making in general. But what me and you were talking about, Caesar, was the case.
Yeah.
And John was correct in regards to, it went up to the Supreme Court, and I know he talked about how there's different levels, and certain levels of courts hear facts and others just hear appeals and such.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in the case with the Youngs. You guys hit the nail on the head in regards to the reason it went to the Supreme Court is because it was related to the covenant not to sue. And what that really is just a promise not to go after them. And that's what Nike did here. I guess backing up a little bit. In short, when this first happened, Youngs made a shoe that was I think it was several shoes actually, that were very similar to the Air Force One, just like you guys said. And then they brought a lawsuit against Yums, and when Yums counterclaimed, they said, hey, we want to invalidate that trademark. And that's when Nike sort of took a step back and said, okay, we're going to drop the lawsuit, which is what they did. But they also made that covenant or promise not to sue Yums for present or future models of that shoe. And Yums was excited. They said, okay, great. But then they went to the court and they said, okay, we still want to get that trademark out of here. That's hurting us, our business. So we want the court to hear a case on that. And that actually is what went to the Supreme Court, that decision of whether the court could even make a decision, whether the court could say, yeah, Nike, your trademark is gone, invalidate that. And that was really, it didn't get decided on. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the nation. And they actually agreed with Nike. They said, yes, this is a covenant not to sue. And because this was legal, it's a really high standard to make. Because it made the high standard that they wouldn't even make a decision.
So they still own the trademarks of the Air Force One?
Yeah, that's why, exactly. There's all different, there's trademarks, patents, copyrights, which are very different forms of intellectual property. And the trademark is something that lasts forever. As long as you're using it, you're going to get it. And as you know, Nike's still using the Air Force One, so they still have that trademark. But
So
that's why
why
that case was so important.
so why would they make the covenant then to not sue if they own the trademark? Like that's the part I'm having a question. Like if they own the trademark to the Air Force One and Yums is making a knockoff or a version of it, why would they not win that case?
Well, yeah, and that's the $1 million question. You got to ask Nike.
Yeah.
They have. I mean, I guess this was what 2009, 2012 is when the Supreme Court heard it. But that's why they hired lawyers like me and other people because, there's a bunch of factors that I could say this might be it, this might be that. Caesar, you guys have said a bunch of great stuff last week on the show. All those are accurate.
Yeah.
So it's really just us saying, maybe they didn't do it for this reason. But the most important thing is that anytime someone challenges a trademark or any kind of lawsuit like this, you could challenge it right back and say, hey, you should invalidate that.
Yeah.
And when you see some of these lawsuits, like Warren Lotus, for example, he didn't only just have the trade dress, which is what Yums is, as well as a lot of others, but he had an actual swoosh and it sort of, said Nike on some of the other early models and stuff. So those are separate trademarks.
Yeah.
So when you have 2 and 3 and 4 trademarks stacking up, that might make the case easier, But
Right.
but still, all it takes is one. So yeah, it's a tough question.
Right, because that's always been a question people have asked is, like you talk about the, you talk about Yums or even, you got Kai right now, but people always reference Bape, like, well, Nike didn't go after them, and it's like, in my mind, there had to be some legal reason because Nike's just not going to decide not to sue somebody, right? Like, it has to be some type of legal reason that they didn't.
Yeah, and again, I can't speak for what Nike's doing or any of these other companies or anything like that, but
Right.
it's all about the trademarks. And I guess pivoting a little bit, using a different case as an example, Yeezy and the foams. In that situation with Yeezy and Walmart, it's sort of a little different because it's a marketplace and this and that. But if they had a trademark, or maybe even a patent, I don't think they have a patent unless something happened recently. You could bet that Yeezy probably would have sued Walmart for federal, some sort of federal trademark kind of thing.
Right.
Because that's a little different force.
Right.
Instead, they did a state law claim in California. So when you have these trademarks, like Nike's trying to get and had for the Air Force One and has for many other things, it's just a different level of enforcement. So just having them, you could do a million different things. You could go to the International Trade Commission and ban imports and exports. You could go to Amazon and third-party websites, and it's just really good to have them.
Because Crocs is doing that now. Crocs is doing that now against, well, not against one specific person. I think it's like 21 lawsuits they have, but
Exactly.
But no, going to the trade dress, because that was something that's been another big topic. Because Nike, it was a trade dress for the Air Jordan 1, which allows them to retroactively go back to like 1985, and I guess they could go after people from that date on. Am I saying that correctly?
I mean, sort of in a way, but there's no real magic line.
Right.
They could have done anything years ago to anybody, and they have. There's multiple people where Nike's gone after for trade dress or multiple levels of trademark. But yeah, so that really doesn't really do anything. Once they get the federal thing, then those federal rights kick in, and they could bring you to federal court. They could have still brought anyone to court previously for similar state claims or common law intellectual property rights that they would have just from using it.
Right. Okay. No, I mean, and it's because I was getting into a debate with somebody today, and I think you told me this. Like, even with the trademarks, or I don't know if it's something else, but like you can have a trademark for something that's strictly within apparel and fashion, and then somebody could have a similar trademark in a different category, and it all be kosher.
Yeah, exactly. You guys hit on it last week too. There's 45 different classes of trademarks. So you could have one for T-shirts, and it could be totally different for a bar of soap, and sneakers and footwear and apparel are in that same one, but there's millions of different other ones. So that's why it's very technical and very, very tricky. And in all these trademark things, it's not just holding one shoe against another. There's all these facts and analysis, and it's technical.
And this is why you should have Sneaker Law Firm behind you when you go file for a trademark. Like, seriously though, because going through that process, it's cumbersome, it's tedious, it's monotonous, and it's like you see all these legalities and these words coming at you. And the one messed up part about it is you could file for something. If you don't file it correctly, you have to refile and have to pay that fee all over again. It's like, and so it's better just to go ahead and get a lawyer from jump and just bite the bullet if you want to have it done correctly the first time and not have to keep doing it over and over and over again.
I like it. Thank you, Caesar. Unpaid plug. I'll take it. How much do I owe you guys?
$100,000. We're gonna sue you. But no, we're gonna get John. It's gonna be John versus Zach. But no, I appreciate you coming on though, to kind of clearing that up. I mean, first of all, it's cool that you even like listen to the show.
Appreciate that.
Had that feedback, and I definitely wanted you to. I've been wanting to get you on anyway, to talk about some of these legalities, because we got a couple of stories. Like I want to get to the Croc story. I probably get to that next week. But like I said, like having these types of conversations and these stories, because while it's cool to talk about, hey, here's our favorite shoes of the year so far, like that's cool. But there's other things going on that affect real people, and like I said, we can sit up here and give our opinions all day, but I like our opinions to kind of be fact based. And so having people like you, John, and others who are professionals, it definitely helps that conversation. Yeah, especially for our listeners,
Yeah, well, no problem. You guys are doing a great job. Like I said, I've been listening for a while, and even without the lawyers, I mean, you guys are usually right on point. So, keep it coming. If you ever have any questions for me, John, anyone, we're always here for you, because we're here to educate you. Like you said, there's a lot going on in the sneaker community with brands and legal stuff that you don't even think about, and businesses and stuff. And there are people who are here to help you like us. So.
No, 100%. Thank you.
Appreciate
Once
it,
again, follow Zach at Sneaker Law Firm on Instagram. You got a Twitter too, or no?
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Sneaker Law Firm on Twitter as well.
Yeah, and like I said, if you got any like sneaker related legal questions, or if you're trying to start a business within the world of sneakers, that's definitely somebody you should talk to. And yeah, we'll be talking soon.
Exactly. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Take care. Peace.
No, I thought it was cool that he actually reached out. Like, it's cool when I have people. Like, it's cool just to hear people in general.
It ain't cool in here because I'm sweating.
Oh, yeah. The headphones like more like earmuffs. But no,
goodness.
But no, but it is cool. Like, it's cool whenever I hear somebody like stop me and say, "Hey, listen to the show, love, blah blah blah." But like, to have him respond, to have him,
you saw the beads of sweat,
yeah,
right. But no, to have him respond though, and like because he listened to the show and he wanted to get into the, the legalities of different things. I thought it was cool. And like I said, I wanted to have him on the show. I've known Zach, like for probably most of this year now. And so
are we the only sneaker show with 2 lawyers?
Definitely with 2.
Man.
You want to see that on Complex? No, I
okay. All that red shit.
All right, let's see. But no, because I don't want to sound arrogant, but at the same time,
whoa, don't stop now, all right?
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's hard to try to be creative in this space because you feel like everything's been done. You got 1 million YouTubers now. Everybody's doing sneaker reviews and stuff. Everybody's doing a sneaker show or a sneaker podcast now, which is fine. What I'm saying? But when you have competition and you're vying for everybody's eyeballs or for everybody's ears, you try to come up with ways that you feel like you can be an asset to your listeners, right? And so that's one of the reasons why, like, I reached out to John and I reached out to Zach. It was like, okay, we talk about these legal situations all the time. And everybody has an opinion, and a lot of times people just be talking about their ass because like what sounds good to you is not fact, right? And so having these lawyers on, they can discuss the legalities of it, and we can involve them in those conversations. Works better for educating the community, ourselves, and our listeners. And so that was just one thing I was happy I was able to do. Like I said, I was not surprised to see everybody all of a sudden have the bright idea, like, hey, you know what, we should have lawyers to come and talk to. And I think, like I said, that just speaks to how competitively close this space is. And so maybe we should have trademarked that segment. We should have Zach trademark that.